Hello everyone, this is part 3 of the analyst grid composition. In the first part, we created the base visual. In the second part, we created a reusable component. And in the third part, I will teach you 4 different ways how I add audio reactivity to the component. And the goal is not to find the perfect way to do audio analysis. Instead, I want to show you just a few different approaches I use, and hopefully it can also provide some insight for you to do your own audio analysis. Because once you understand how different chops process the audio signal, you can choose the method that fits your own visual goal better. Also, a disclaimer here, I have no background in music. I simply enjoy listening to music. I'm approaching this more from a perspective of a designer, trying to understand how to use sound to drive motion. So if you do come from music or audio background and you notice something I could explain better or something I misunderstood, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and I would genuinely love to learn from you as well. With that being said, let's get started. For the audio source, I'm using Piano Phase from Steven Rich. It's a minimalist piece where 2 pianos play the same phase and one of them gradually shifts slightly faster than the other, and over time those 2 parts slowly move out of sync. I think this is very interesting piece to make audio reactivity. I also saw audio reactivity art made by an artist. I think it's really cool. I will link down below. Before going into each method one by one, I will quickly walk you through the 4 different approaches. The first 2 methods both start with the high frequency data, but I detect 2 different things. The first one is the fixed triggers. Whenever it surpassed a certain threshold, in this case I'm using logic to detect it, it will fire a trigger. And the second is dynamic range detection, where your music evolves over time. Instead of a fixed trigger, you want to detect the change over time. The second method compares the current loudness to the loudness from a couple seconds ago, and the trigger fires when the difference between those 2 surpassed a certain range, which is also fired by the defined by the logic here. The third one, using the full spectrum, entire frequency spectrum, not just the highs, is still the dynamic detection. In the end, I just try out different detection methods. One is using logic, one is using trigger, one is using expression, which I will talk to you later. The last one is a method I think fits the piece best. It calculates the left and right channels difference and use that difference to drive the visuals. Okay. If you want the exact project files, remix ready templates, and commercial use assets, they're all on my Patreon. Download and project notes included, so you can remix faster and adapt it to your own creative direction. Let's get started. First, add the audio file in. Connect it to a audio analysis component. You can find it under Palette, Tools, Audio Analysis. This is a built-in component where it split the signal into low, mid, high frequency bands. In here, I'm only using the high to drive the visuals. I connect it to it now, so you're able to see all the things it extracts. Then connect it to select the high frequency band. Connect it to a mask, amplifying the value by 100 to get a cleaner, more usable signal. You can connect it to a 12 to see how visually the value looks. So you can see the first one is the one without multiply, and the second is multiplied by 100, much more readable, right? And then after that, I connect it to a logic, set the band from 45 to 6. How the logic works, it outputs the value of 0 when the signal falls within the defined window, and 0 when it falls outside. So it's generating the clean on and off pulse each time a high band enters into the target range. And then I route it into a lag to smooth the sharp transition and created a more gradual fade out. Then connected to a count, I change the trigger threshold to 0.5, release threshold to 0.4. This counter increments by 1 each time the signal rises above 0.5, and the signal has to drop back below 0.4 before it will count again. And this keeps it from double counting. If you have too responsive audio, you want to reduce the responsiveness or the trigger points. And then also change the range to be 100 to 200, and this is based on how the value range you set up in your component. The second method is a dynamic range detection. So with this approach, we are only able to detect when it reaches certain threshold, but this comes with so many drawbacks. So if you want to detecting the dynamic change, if you want to trigger the event when the changes surpass a certain threshold, this is when you use this method. Again, extract a high frequency, then connect it to a mask, multiply by 100. I can also set this. This is also multiplied by 100. And filter out, so become more smooth, reduce some of the small signals. Filter with 0.2, and then here is the dynamic range. I connect it to a rename, call it a current volume, and then add a delay 2 seconds. This is our past volume, and connect it to a mask. In here, combine channel subtract, channel post op positive. What this do is it calculates the difference between current volume and the volume 2 seconds ago. You can of course change how much delay you want to compare. After this, make it more clear, you can name it volume change, then connect it to a logic. This is the same thing. Once you have this dynamic changing value, you set up a detection range you want. Then I connect it to 2 different counts. Just change the value I use to drive the visuals. For the first one is a grid, and the second is pattern random. So these 2 are from this one. I'll just change the range to drive different parts of the visual. Okay. The third method is still dynamic, but we use the full range of the song, not only high bands. I connected the audio file in to mask, combine channel, choose average. Before we move forward, I want to add a slightly bit more explanation on how sound works. Correct me if you are sound engineer. So sound is in real world is air pressure moving back and forth, and once we will add audio file in, we can see these waveforms. And what I did here with mask is just combine left and right channel into one channel, combine channels average. The back and forth create the positive and negative values in the waveform, which is not very usable for our visuals. To make it more usable, we can connect it to audio spectrum. This turn the waveform into a frequency data. In the audio spectrum, you can change it FFT size to the largest. These give us a much finer frequency resolution at a small trade-off. The analyzer look further back in time, so the response is slightly slower. And then we connect it to an analyze, change average to RMS power. What RMS power does is, compared to the average, for example, it weighs louder, more heavily than quiet ones, closer to how our ears perceive loudness. So in terms of the visual, I think it just makes it more obvious, but to be honest, it doesn't create that much difference in the end. But the idea here is we want to do everything properly. And then we connect it to envelope, change envelope width to 10 and connect it to a mask. Combine chops, choose divide. Remember, analyze is the first and envelope is second. What this does, it turns energy value into normalized value from 0 to 1, which is easier for us to drive the visuals. You want to work with confined or controllable range. After that, connect it to a mask to increase the range. Again, easier readable. Connect it to a lag that smooths out the jiggerish part. This is the same thing as before. I extract the current volume and the volume to seconds ago. I subtract them with a mask. Remember to put positive and rename it to volume change, and you can also connect to a trail to see all the differences it produced. Finally, for the detection, I tried a few different methods. They all kind of works in their own way. You can try different methods and to see which one works best for you and for the visuals you work with. The first is I'm using the logic, set the bound. Within the bound, you will produce 1. Outside the bound will produce 0. And then the trigger, how it works is setting the trigger threshold and release threshold. In my network, I set the trigger threshold to 11 and release threshold to 10. The signal has to rise above 11 for it to be triggered, and once it's triggered, it won't trigger again unless the signal has fallen back below 10. The trigger has also attack, decay, sustain, release parameters built in, which comes from the same analog sync word. I'm leaving them at 0 here, but you can experiment if you want to shape the trigger to an envelope. The last one is expression chop. It's run in a line of Python, which is the most versatile one. In here, I use the expression once it's past the 14, it will trigger 1. Below is a 0, but you can do so much. Combine multiple channels at time-based conditions, do math on the signals, referencing other operators with the expression. And then I connect it to the on-off signal to a count and change the range to 0 and 100. Basically, you want it to be looping between 0 and 100. And again, you can connect it to a trail to see how different value it produced. So for example, these two methods, it gives me similar results. Yeah, also this is the same, it's just that I changed the range to be 4 to 6. But if I change to 0 to 100, it will similar to this one. But they are slightly different if you see it in microseconds, etc. Try out different methods to get precise control is always nice, in my opinion. The last one, which I think is the best one for this visual, I extract the left and right channel, calculate the difference. I connect it to audio spectrum, choose the largest FFT size, and analyze RMS power, and normalize this to value to 0 and 1. After that, I use select the left channel and right channel and add a lag to it to smooth out. Then connect both of them to mask. In here, combine chops, choose subtract, channel post-op positive. This calculate the difference between the left and right channels, and then I rename it to stereo difference, and then use this to drive the visuals, and I can show you how it looks like without the limit. Basically, it reacts correctly. Let me just open the video. It actually reacts correctly, but the problem is it's too responsive. In this case, what you can do is add a limit. In here, I'm using floor 0.2 to filter out some values, and it reacts only when it reaches certain bands. And then you can change the number based on what kind of visuals you want, how reactive you want it to be. What this limit does is it gives you the zigzag visual look. Then I rename it to final offset signal. I'll show you another way I use the left and right channels to drive the visuals. This is the same setup, I just changed a few different parameters, and in here I'm using the difference to drive the circle scale. And if you want these two project files, you can find it in my Patreon. Otherwise, happy creating, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a free way to support this channel, and I will see you next time.